Designing experiments. In ancient times, people saw that maggots often appeared on rotting meat. They hypothesized that dead things, such as rotting meat, could sometimes turn into living things, such as maggots. Aristotle was the first scientist to describe this idea. Scientists believed it for thousands of years. In the 1600s, an Italian doctor named Francesco Redi started to think that idea might be wrong. Redi observed flies buzzing around rotting meat before maggots appeared. Later, these maggots turned into the same kinds of flies. Redi believed that maggots hatched from fly eggs. He designed an experiment to test his hypothesis. Designing experiments. If maggots came from flies, then keeping flies away from meat would prevent maggots from appearing. Redi gathered 4 types of meat: snake, fish, eel, and steak. He put each type into 2 jars. One jar was sealed to keep the flies out. Redi left the other jar open. To find out if flies caused maggots, Redi had to make sure that flies were the only difference between the jars. In other words, Redi tested the effect of just one variable. In the scientific method, the variable a scientist changes is called the independent variable. The result of this test is called the dependent variable. Redi's independent variable was whether the jars were sealed. His dependent variable was whether maggots appeared. Choosing controls. Variables that don't change during the experiments are called controls. Controls help scientists prove that the independent variable could have caused the results. Using the same type of meat in open and closed jars is a control. So is using more than one type. It can show that the contrast or similarity among the different types of meat. Redi's open jars were his control group. These jars matched real-world conditions known to produce maggots. The sealed jars were his experimental group. In these jars, he didn't know for sure what would happen. Observing results and adjusting experiments. After setting up his jars, Redi recorded what he saw. Flies went into open jars. Within 24 hours, maggots appeared on the meat. He saw no maggots inside sealed jars. Redi had shown that fly eggs were the source of maggots. Redi's experiments supported his hypothesis. It's very common, though, for experiments to prove that a hypothesis is wrong. Being wrong is normal and an expected part of the scientific method. Repeating an experiment is very important. If the same results occur again and again, the experiment provides more solid proof of a theory. If the results change, it proves that there is a fault with the theory.